All right, Max, congrats on a great night. Who's got the first question? I'll start with Simon, second row. Excuse me, Keegan in the second row.
Max, we just talked to Schneider about when he came out for that first mound visit there and the interaction you guys had. How did that feel to be able to stay in and have that with him?
Yeah, I mean, it was a big moment in the game right there. I mean, it was just a situation I was going through it in my head. I understood where the game state was, knew how I wanted to attack, and then all of a sudden I saw Schneider coming out, and I kind of went, whoa. Like, I'm not coming out of this ball game. Like, I feel too good. And so we had a little conversation that basically I wanted to stay in the ball game, but just with some other words involved. But I just knew I was strong. I knew I wanted the ball. I knew I could get outs in this situation, and I just wanted to stay in. I wanted it.
Right next to Keegan, Mike.
How did it feel, Max, to back that up immediately, to fight to stay in the game and then strike the next hitter out?
Oh, it's great. It's what you play the game for. You're in the biggest moment of the season right now. These games are must win, every single one of them. And when you get success, it's great. I mean, this is what you play for. You work so hard the whole year, make all the sacrifices, put on all the work in to get to this moment, to have these type of moments, to be able to win in the postseason. So it's just a great effort by our team all the way around. Our offense, our defense, our relievers, everybody contributed tonight, and that's what makes it special.
In that first inning, it looked like it took you a little while to get going. You had the 8 straight balls to Cal and Julio. Was it just a matter of getting your feel back after 3 weeks away, or what was it?
Yeah, there was an element of that. I mean, I kind of knew that could be a possibility coming in. And kind of played out that way. Just this execution was just a tick off. Trying to get a feel for where the zone is. You're trying to make perfect pitches in those situations. And I didn't want the top of the order to beat me and right off the bat. And unfortunately, I walked 2 guys. But thankfully, I was able to get a big double play ball to kind of get out of that inning and kind of get. And I felt like then I was kind of able to get into the rhythm of the game and start attacking the zone better. But it definitely the layoff did play a role into it. Knew that could happen. But I didn't. Get frustrated. I just kind of sat there and said, okay, you knew this could happen. How are you going to respond and execute around that? Like, just go back to the basics and just think through the situation of how you want to execute pitches against the next hitter.
Second row, you're right, Ben.
Hey, Max, just wondering, what's the mindset now that you guys have tied the series 2-2? You've won the game. Where are you at?
Every game is must win. It doesn't change. Whether you're up, down, every game you play is must win. So we've been playing well. We just got to continue to play well.
Jordan, right here.
Max, can you walk us through the pickoff in the third inning? Not something we've seen from you in a long time. And how did that come about?
Yeah, fortunately, I got a big out in a big situation right there. I got the pickoff call, from the pitch comm. And just tried to wait out the clock as long as I could, and then make a good snap throw. And it wasn't my best throw, but it was obviously I put it in the right spot so Vladdy could get the tag. So that ended up being a huge out, especially when you're facing Cal in that situation. There's a big difference between 1 out and run on first and 2 outs, nobody on. So that was a big turning point in the game to allow me to stay aggressive at them.
And right up front, Max.
Just take us, without getting too personal, how you stayed focused from your last outing to now physically and mentally for you to be ready for this moment.
I kind of went back and thought about some of the outings I've had where I've been coming off the IL. I've had a couple outings where I've had extended time off and then came out, and I've actually pitched well in sometimes in those situations. And so, I kind of told myself, like, hey, you're going to be rusty. You got to find the zone. You got to find the zone with all your pitches. But, with the layoff, my arm felt great. My arm felt, was fresh. All the little ailments that I've been dealing with were gone, so I was able to get through the ball much better. And just for me, it was getting in the flow of the game and executing pitches.
Mitch in the third row on your left, Max.
Max, especially in kind of 2025, maybe not every manager would have let you kind of fight back in that situation and stay in the game. What is it about the relationship you have with Schneider and him as a manager that you think let him allow you to stay in that game?
I think he he wasn't planning on. I think when I'm gathering from the bullpen and everything, that he wasn't actually planning on taking me out. He just wanted to check on me. So I don't think I actually fought to stay in. I think it was kind of a mind game to kind of get me going. So who knows?
Did it work?
Well, we got the result. So
Go to John in the fourth row.
Hi, Max. You alluded a little bit earlier to the sacrifices that you make over the course of a season. I wonder, this year, can you reflect on the people that have helped you get to this moment in your life with the team that allow you to enjoy a night like this?
It's everybody within the Blue Jays organization, starting the spring training, who you're working with, all the staff, all the coaches doing that. It takes your family, all the sacrifice you make with your family and the 4 kids, It's a number, with the season, with the road trips, and, the kids are getting a little older. It's a little bit tougher to leave at home. So, as much as I'm grinding too, my wife and kids they're grinding with me too. So, it's a kind of family situation here with your team, your family at home, everybody else's family. It's a big, it's not just me, going out there and pitching. There's a lot of people behind the scenes help me as well. And it's all, throughout the years, I'm in the spot because of a lot of people who have had fingerprints in my career as well, and advice they've given me and how they've worked me. So you get one of these moments, you kind of reflect upon all these, but as good as that feels, you also know what we're playing for. It's not over. This is a tight series. I mean, we just tied it up. It's great, but we still got work to do. And, this is, you get to these moments and everybody's pulling on, thinking the same thing. You're all trying to win to get to the end at the end.
And just to follow up, just one quick thing. I looked today at the first postseason lineup that you faced, 2011, Jeter, A-Rod, Cano, from a different time. When you think about how you experienced that one and this one, in some ways, do the games now maybe mean something in a different dimension to you as you look at your career, Max?
No. No, because the excitement of beating those guys back in 2011, it's the same excitement as today of beating the players from this generation. You can't get higher than this level of baseball, postseason baseball. So when you had success, 14 years ago, it's the same as today. It's the highest you can possibly be at.
Second row on your left, Matt.
Max, your curveball in particular seemed like you had a really good feel for that tonight. I think it tied a career high for most whiffs in a game with 6. Why do you think the curveball was so effective for you, and specifically what was going through your head after the one you got a Rosarena with?
It just, that's just kind of how the cookie crumbled tonight. Yeah, there was just times where I just felt like I could rip a good, I just felt like I was ripping the curveball really well, and Kirky was calling it, and I was like, in my head, is this the right pitch? But then I was like, I see what he's, I feel good with this pitch, and so I knew where I needed to execute it. I've been working with the hitting coaches of how I need to think and throw that curveball, and kind of those moments I needed to execute the curveball exactly in this location, and I wasn't going to get beat on location with the curveball. So, for me, when that call was coming in my head, I was just like, all right, rip it and get it to the right location.
Take a few final ones. Greg in front.
Max, can you walk us through the conversation when you get back to the dugouts after the 5th inning with your manager?
Kind of everybody was fired up, and I was good to go. Give me the ball.
We'll finish up in the second row on your left, Max.
Max, you've seen, obviously, a ton of baseball. It feels a lot of the time like when people are put in spots that they weren't supposed to be in, they come through. Addison Barger wasn't supposed to play right field today. Isaiah wasn't supposed to start today. What did you see out of them in unexpected spots?
I mean, Barge has played right field for us, and I've seen him do some great stuff, and he's got a heck of an arm. So, 2 plays, he makes a great play into the gap when Rivas hit a ball out there. He makes a good running catch. And then, obviously, when Flew gave up the hit, and then he fires at the third to get a huge, just to end the inning in that situation, end their kind of momentum in that situation. I've seen him play this whole year, and he's wowed me in so many different ways, especially on the defensive side. He's a great player, great hitter, and so he's one of those guys that are just on our team that grinds and finds ways to help win ball games in all different facets. And that's what makes our team so exciting to play for and be a part of, because we have guys up and down our roster that are like that.
And just on Jimenez, out of the 9 spot, big homer 2 games in a row. What are you seeing from him?
Yeah, I didn't get to see the homer. I'm kind of blind what's going on the offensive side. I asked, like, what happened? How did we get Castillo? And they was like, oh, him hit the homer. I was like, I didn't realize that he did. I was so happy for him that he was able to get that. So, like I said, we're a complete team up and down the lineup. Him, stepping in and playing shortstop for us. He's played an unbelievable shortstop, and then he's given us offense too. Like I said, we're a complete team.
All right, Max, congrats on a great night.